Hello everyone, welcome back to Sai Homeschool. Please like, share and subscribe my channel. So last class we will discuss tetravalency and catenation of carbon. So because of these two properties we are getting a millions of carbon compounds. In that how the covalent bonds will be formed between the carbon atoms. So here and also we studied how the bonds will be double bond, single bond and triple bond will be formed between the carbon and hydrogen or any other atoms. How the single bond between the atoms it will be present, how it takes place, then double bond and triple bond, how the formation of single, double and triple bond we studied. So here now we will study hydrocarbons. So if you come to the topic hydrocarbons, what is hydrocarbon? So what hydrocarbons are nothing but the compounds which are made up of carbon and hydrogen. So we know that so the carbon compounds even they are having some compounds having it will be oxygen, nitrogen, fluorine. So here if you come to the hydrocarbons, only two elements it will be present, that is carbon and hydrogen. So if you classify these hydrocarbons will be classified into two types. One, it is saturated hydrocarbons and unsaturated hydrocarbons. Saturated hydrocarbons, we can take an example, alkane. So unsaturated, above already we studied saturated hydrocarbons means carbon-carbon having single bond between the carbon atoms. Unsaturated hydrocarbons again divided into two types. One it is alkene, one it is alkyne. So alkenes are means here it is alkenes contain carbon-carbon double bond. Alkynes contain carbon-carbon triple bond. You should remember this is very important. This is basic thing you should understand. Wherever the atoms it come A and A, you should remember that there is a carbon-carbon single bond. Here saturated hydrocarbons means those hydrocarbons which are having carbon single bond between the two carbon atoms. Unsaturated hydrocarbons means the hydrocarbons which are having double and triple. That too here carbon compounds having always covalent bonds. The bond takes place by sharing of electrons. So these hydrocarbons which contain double and triple bond between the carbon atoms. That is example we can take alkene and alkyne. So alkenes are nothing but carbon-carbon having double bond. So alkynes are nothing but carbon-carbon having triple bond. That is, so here if you come to write the dot structure for here C2H6 here. How we should write? So we know that carbon having how many number of electrons in the outermost shell it is having? How many electrons it is? See, if you write electronic configuration for atomic number for carbon is 6. 4 it will be present on the outermost shell. 2, comma 4 it comes if you write 1s2, 2s2, 2p. 2 if you write electronic configuration you will get it. So how to write 4 electrons around the carbon? You should write 1, here 1, 2, 3, 4. So if you take another carbon atom, here they give formula C2H6 it is. How it will happen? We'll see. Electron dot structure for C2H6, that is here 1, 2, 3, 4 carbon. Sorry, 4 electrons in the outermost shell. So how many electrons it requires to get octet structure? Here it is. It is here having 4. It needs another 4 electrons. So what will happen here? The bond takes place. So it will be combined with 1 electron of hydrogen atom, 1 valence electron of this hydrogen atom and 1 valence electron for this hydrogen atom. Here the bond formed between the carbon. So if you take here, there is a one bond from 1 electron from this carbon, 1 electron from this carbon. Again, this carbon requires another 3 hydrogen atoms. So each hydrogen atom 1 valence electron. Then you should combine these. So you should circle the how the covalent bond formation takes place here. One electron from carbon, one valence electron from hydrogen. So like that you should circle it. Then you can come to know that here there is a hydrocarbons, how they getting connected. So how it will be happen. The bond formation between the carbon-carbon atom is C2H6 it is. So here carbon-carbon having a single bond. So if you write here, so it will come carbon-carbon single bond. Then carbon will be combined. It needs another 4 electron to get active structure. Another 3 electrons it will be by hydrogen atom. This is the structure we can write for the C2H6. So this is the dot structure. They will ask very important dot structure. They will ask for your exams how these it will be happened. So wherever you will observe how it will comes under single bond, double bond and triple bond between the atoms. So this is the simple carbon compounds. So the how the C2H6 formed between the carbon and hydrogen, that is ethane. So I will explain you how we will call meth means. So you should remember based on the number of carbon atoms how you will give the names for those carbon atoms. So this is the structure what we wrote here, that is the structure C2H6. How the covalent bond formation will be takes place between the two carbon atoms and how it will be get active structure by using getting by sharing electrons with hydrogen atoms. So like that it is. So here one more C2H4. So if you observe here C2H4, C2 here it is. So if we write the formula for ethane, alkane, alkene, alkyne. So alkane is CnH2n plus 2. Alkene is CnH2n. Alkyne is CnH2n minus 2. So N is the number of carbon atoms. So it may be 1, 2, 3, etc. So here like this based on that formula. So here how many electrons, so sorry, how many carbon atoms it will be present. It has 2 carbon atoms. It is present CnH2n. It is the formula if you apply here. So C2H4 you will get it in the formula ethene. Ethene means carbon-carbon having a double bond. In alkene form it is. So we know that above we studied it is unsaturated hydrocarbons having carbon-carbon double bond. So that is. So here this formula is ethene. So if you write the valency of the carbon, so what will happen? You will get the 4 electrons in the outermost shell. So here carbon having, so how the dot structure you will write here 1 electron, here 1 electron. For this carbon atom another 2. So here what will happen? The carbon having a double bond to two paired share of electrons covalent bond it will be takes place by sharing 2 paired electrons. So another it will be require carbon having 2. It should be carbon always having around the 4 bonds around the carbon. Either maybe 1 double bond and another 2 single bonds, or maybe all the bonds will be single bond, or maybe 1 triple bond and 1 single bond it will be. So valency of the carbon is 4. So whenever you will write the bond around the carbon, you should write 4 bonds around the carbon. So that is here it is a ethene. If you take formula C2H4, you can write the structure for this is. So if you apply the in this formula CnH2n formula for ethene, you will get C2H4. So that is ethene. So here the dot structure they had given. So how the dot structure for the ethene. So if you take here, what will happen? We said already there is a two pair of electrons will be shared. So here this is a unsaturated hydrocarbon. carbon. So here it is a two bonds. It will be formed between the carbon atoms. Then it requires another two. It will be combined with the hydrogen. So they asked you to write the ethane. So if you take a ethane, so ethane formula, so ethane, eth means two carbon atoms. Ethane, if you apply C2H2, right? So you will get, if you apply carbon atoms in this alkyne formula, you will get the formula. Here apply, if you apply 4 minus 2 is C2H2. How you will get the electron dot structure here is carbon-carbon having triple bond. Ethane means carbon-carbon having triple bond. Then how many electrons it required to get active structure? How many shared pair of electrons it will be sharing with the two hydrogen atom? It is carbon around 4 bonds. Here we have already 3 bonds. It will be present. Another one bond with the hydrogen atom. This is the structure. You will get it for a ethane. So so if you want to know these things, so you have to know the thing that is, so if the meth in organic chemistry, whenever the formula name it starts with the meth, the number of carbon atoms will be 1. You should remember this is very important. So meth means one carbon atom. Eth. Eth means number of carbon atoms is 2. Eth, meth, prop. Prop means number of carbon atoms is 3. Prop. Prop means number of carbon atoms will be 3. Prop. Bute. Bute means number of carbon atoms is 4. Then pent. Hexa. Pent means 5 carbon atoms here it will be. Hexa means 6. Hepta, octa, nano. These will be. So, hepta, oct, nano. So, here it is the number of carbon atoms. You should know the names. This is hept. That is X. 6 is X. This is octa. This is act. This is nan. That is this much you should know. Number of carbon atoms based on these names you should give. So here some examples they had given, that is, so how to write the structure by using the formula. So as I said now, general formula. So methane. Methane, it will come under the alkane. Alkanes means alkanes are saturated or unsaturated hydrocarbons. Alkanes are saturated hydrocarbons. Saturated hydrocarbons having carbon-carbon single bond here. That is saturated hydrocarbons. Example, it is a alkane. So it will be come in the form of ANE. ANE means name itself. By seeing the name itself, you should know the whether it is a alkane, alkane or alkyne. So if it is a ANE, it means there is a single bond between the carbon atoms, and you can know that the name, by using this name you can know the whether it is a alkane, alkene or alkyne. So ANE it is comes means it is a alkane, carbon carbon having a single bond, or maybe meth means here 1. So carbon having single bonds around it. So either maybe with the hydrogen. Okay. Here if you take ANE means, so if you know that carbon having a 4 bonds, right? So here meth means only one carbon. If you apply in this formula, what you will get? CH4. So CH4 means all the single bonds around the carbon with hydrogen. That is, so the bonds are always with hydrogen in a methane. So here if it the in the alkane form, all the carbon atoms will be bonded with hydrogen, because here you will get a single bond around the carbon. That is saturated hydrocarbons. If you write the structure, there is a one carbon. All the bonds between the hydrogen atoms will be only single bond. So eth. Eth means number of carbon atoms will be 2. So if you apply the number of carbon atoms in this formula, you will get C2H6. So eth means C2H6. So all the bonds between A and E means carbon atom having only single bond. So here carbon having a single bond. Then so here already one bond between the carbon atoms. Around this carbon atom, how many atom bonds should be present here is another 3. So another 3 bonds it will be with the hydrogen atom. So like that prop means number of carbon atoms is 3. N means all the carbon atoms having single bonds. Bute means what we said here. Bute means number of carbon atoms will be 4. Right. So if you apply the CnH2n plus 2 formula, you will get C4H10. So C4. So between the carbon atoms, then around the carbon it should be 4 bonds around the carbon. That you should write the structure for butane. Pentane. Pentane means C5H12. Hexane C6H14. Like this, you should write for the structure. So this is how this it will be happened. So if I give you one more for alkenes, alkenes will be, what are alkenes means? The unsaturated, these are unsaturated hydrocarbons contain double bond. Alkene is carbon having a double bond. So general formula for this is CnH2n. So it means here you should get, see, always carbon having a double bond means here it should be starts with the ethene, right? So first member of this alkene group is, so if you write a alkene, so what are alkenes means? Alkenes are nothing but unsaturated hydrocarbons having carbon double bond. So you should remember ANE it comes means carbon double bond. ENE it comes means carbon double bond. So ANE it comes means carbon single bond. ENE it comes means carbon having double bond. So here what will happen? So already 2 bonds between the carbon atoms. Then how many bonds it needs? Here is 2 bonds around between the carbon and hydrogen. This is the one structure, that is first alkene. What we should take is, that is ethene. Ethene means, eth means 2 carbon atoms. It is having C2H4. The formula for this ethene is C2H4. So alkene here we will take is ethene. Eth means 2 carbon atoms. Ene means having double bond between the carbon atoms. That is ethene. Then you will get it ethene after propene, butene, pentene, hexene, but carbon having double bond. So if you come to final topic, that is alkyne. Alkynes are nothing but, these are also saturated or unsaturated. These are also unsaturated hydrocarbons having carbon double bond. So triple bond here. Double bond in the sense alkene. Triple bond in the sense alkyne. So number of bonds present between the carbon atoms is 3. How many bonds here remaining we should require here is 1 bond, that is combined with the sharing electrons with the hydrogen atoms. That is, so general formula of this alkene is CnH2n minus 2. So if you take this form, this is the name, it is 2 carbon atoms having triple bond, that is ethine. That is ethane. So that is what? So if you read, they ask you to write the general formula for alkane, alkene, you should remember general formula of alkane is CnH2n plus 2. Alkene is CnH2n. Alkyne is CnH2n minus 2. And what are the bonds present in the alkane, alkene and alkane? Alkanes having carbon, single bonds between the atoms. Alkenes having carbon-carbon double bond. Alkynes having carbon-carbon triple bond, and you should know the number of carbon atoms present. So whether it is a ane form or ene or ine form, alkene, alkane, alkyne form it will be present. This will be very important. So the covalent bond formed between the carbon-carbon atom is very strong. So we studied last class that is ionic bonds is also strong because of force of attraction. So compared to ionic bonds, here covalent bonds is not much stronger. So but if you take a bond between the covalent bond between the carbon atoms is very strong. So this in this you should remember the dot structures, how to write, very important. They will ask anyone dot structure, either maybe last class we studied that how the single bond, double bond, and triple bond formation dash structure for oxygen. Then nitrogen we studied, that you should remember how the double bond, single bond, and triple bond formation of. For that you should know the dash structures. And here if you come to here, ethane or maybe ethane, you should write the electron dot structure for ethane. So here what will happen? One more for ethane, one more electron from this carbon, one more valence electron from this carbon, and only one hydrogen atom it will come here, and you should circle for that hydrogen atom and one electron. Then there is a three bonds between the carbon atoms, that it will be by sharing a three paired electrons, that is. So we know already, so this it will be carbon atoms, that is catenation self-linking capacity what the carbon atoms having, either maybe chain or maybe branched it will be present. So or maybe it is ring structures it will be present, so that we will get number of carbon atoms present, it will be in the form of chain. So next class we will study how the isomers, what are isomers and different structural formula. Means here we know that there is a chain, branch and ring structures it will be present. So if you take the names and structures of six of these any, so if you take for this, if it is having a two or more carbon atoms, whether it will be same formula but structure will be different, either maybe chain or maybe branched or maybe ring structures, that isomers we will study in the next class. So in this you should know, last class and this class what we studied, very important things you should know is tetravalency and catenation. Here if you come, differences between alkane, alkenes, alkynes, and how to write the structure of those things. So basics things you should know. What we will now, based on the carbon atoms, how we will give the name, and based on bonds between the carbon atoms, how we will give the name. By knowing these things, you can write the name of the structure, or maybe if they give the name, you can write the structure easily based on these basics. So thank you for watching.